Ghana Means Business, brought to you by GhOIL. GhOIL, good energy.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
When the first European colonizers arrived in the late 15th century, most of them in the Gold Coast area were striving to consolidate their newly acquired territories and to settle into a secure and permanent environment. By the later part of the 19th century, the only traders left were the Dutch and the British, and after the Dutch withdrew in 1874, Britain made the Gold Coast a British Crown colony and acquired most of the forts along the coast. The colonial period started from 1902 to 1957. The Ashanti Kingdom in 1902 was declared a British Crown colony and became part of the Protectorate of the Northern Territory of the Gold Coast. After World War II, the Gold Coast colony became prominent among the sub-Saharan African countries. Independence was granted to the Gold Coast in 1957, and thereafter, the name Ghana was adopted for the country. Ghana became a republic on 1st July 1960, with Dr. Kwame Nkrumah as its first president. The national flag of Ghana was then designed in replacement of the flag of the United Kingdom, which was then in use for all the countries which were colonized by the British. At midnight on 6th March 1957, the official ceremony took place and the British flag was lowered and the new flag of Ghana was raised, and the British colony of the Gold Coast became the independent nation of Ghana. The Governor-General of Ghana served as the representative of the Queen of Ghana, whose former title in Ghana was Her Majesty Elizabeth II, Queen of Ghana, and of her other realms and territories, head of the Commonwealth. The entire Dominion formed part of Her Majesty's dominions until the country became a republic in 1960.
Hello and welcome to the second part of our interview with His Excellency, the British High Commissioner, Mr. Iain Walker. This evening, once again, we present to you your apolitical, factual, unbiased television program, Ghana Means Business. I am your host, Nana Fribia Ajiman Pambo.
Every now and again, GhOIL makes good things happen. This time, GhOIL has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. GhOIL Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. GhOIL Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. GhOIL Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with GhOIL Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. GhOIL has that sorted. GhOIL, good energy.
Ghana Means Business. Your story, our message.
Well, I mean, Do you think that the UK, as part of its aid or investment drive in Ghana, should attach certain KPIs to ensure that government is seen to be doing things that are above board? Because there's also the issue of China, where the Chinese are here in Africa, in their numbers. They've made major inroads. Most of the places they've been to, they've managed to even displace some of our colonial relationships. And simply because China, for the most part, is not so particular about certain things that Europe and America deem as prerequisites before they disperse investments or aid. How do you rate this issue?
So I think a couple of things. I think, first of all, I think the UK, we work with China in the UK, and we think China are we work closely with them in a number of domains, and we think in a globalised world, then it's quite right that China and other countries absolutely play a really important part. I guess I come from a starting point which says that for Ghana, it should be right for Ghana. So therefore, how do we find a way that means that the Ghana gets out of it what Ghana needs, and it doesn't feel there aren't choices. So my job for the last, I'd say, 4 years has been to make sure that the UK is present, that we are offering a credible alternative. No compulsion. We will never. Ghana is a sovereign, autonomous country. Ghana makes its own choices. I'm clear about that. But we want to make sure that the UK is a choice and a partner that Ghana chooses to kind of be with. And I think to your question of, how do we get more rigour into the system? I don't honestly think that comes from development partners. I don't think we're in a place where we are dictating rules to countries, and that's a good thing, I think. But I think that when I listen to a lot of the debate, I think people want more and more accountability. Perhaps it's not for me to say, but perhaps less powers of patronage. I don't know. But these are constitutional matters. These are questions for Ghana. But I think the point you make about, with elections every 4 years, let me put it this way, with elections every 4 years and a history of Ghana changing government roughly every 8, I'm not making predictions, I'm just... it does mean that for projects of the kind that matter right now in Ghana, infrastructure, these are 20, 30-year projects. It's unlikely over a 20-year, 30-year period one party is going to be in power throughout. So therefore, almost by definition, there is going to be changes of government, which is a good thing, that's democracy. But it's really important that the people of Ghana don't pay the price for that every time the government changes, each of the parties. So therefore, I think that goes to the heart of saying, well, in my mind, how do you find the kind of governance such that the regulatory environment remains reliable, dependable, and not subject to the shifting tides of the government of the day? And I'm optimistic that will happen, but I think it needs to happen at Ghana's pace. And I feel that I've seen areas where things have improved. I see areas where one would like to see them move more quickly. But these are matters for Ghana. And I think that, I suppose what I would say to summarise is, nothing is ever free, whether it's from China, whether any other country, or the UK. Development is the thing that's free. But we know that Ghana wishes to move beyond aid. So if we're looking to move beyond aid, we need to realise that if you believe in capital markets, people should make a return. If you're putting a lot of political risk of changing the rules, then you're adding price. And I think Ghana pays that price. And therefore I think that for me is the economic piece that I think keeping a good sense on stability during transitions, I think, really matters.
Much as your optimism is very welcome, the tragedy is the two largest political parties in Ghana have absolutely nothing in common when it comes to continuity and policy. So as a country, the challenge is, if only we had a national development plan where we know that we have a 20-year plan or a 30-year plan, and irrespective of the political party in power, this is the path we want to follow. Perhaps I could take comfort in your optimism, but that is a conversation for another day. On the issue of Brexit.
But if I may, I mean, I hear you, and it's something I've wondered, why doesn't such a plan exist? Because I recognise your description that the parties, on the face of it, don't have much in common. But actually, I'm not convinced that ideologically they are a million miles apart. I mean, people want to see more productivity in the agriculture sector. People want to see, I imagine, the broadening of the services industry in Ghana, in Accra in particular, but certainly beyond that. People want to see the development of digital technologies across the country. So I think that I do. The reason I'm optimistic is that I think if one looks at Ghana, over a long time frame, Ghana, I'm genuinely optimistic for the country because I see an entrepreneurial spirit. I see not just GDP figures that grow, and I think we can all look at data that cuts in different ways. But I am an optimist for Ghana. Periods, unapologetically.
It's very welcome.
But it is really important that how can I often think, when I think of how I've tried to kind of reset, so far as I can, people's perceptions of the UK, look, I think that we have a proud tradition of commitment to development. We are very committed to development. There are economic challenges here in Ghana that require long-term kind of patient capital, require reform, and we, as friends of the country, are keen we're keen to play an active role and to support that. But in many ways, it will come from within this kind of sense of what comes next. And if you go back over Ghana's kind of history, the progress is incredible. The reasons for optimism are real, but we must never be complacent. Is my point. It does require hard work.
I like the choice, that word, complacent, and we shouldn't also allow politics to become a cancerous tumor that is deepening the divide. And I think the sooner we get hold of the direction that politics is tearing us apart, just for the sake of politics, I think that the better off we would be as a nation in terms of our developmental agenda. But on Brexit, the question is, what will be the reason? Because clearly, it wasn't an overwhelming majority that voted to leave the European Union. And even after the referendum, there were those who were still advocating for a second referendum. I don't think Brexit was the best choice or the best decision according to a vast majority of people. Of course, the British are entitled to their opinion. But to you, what is the main reason that fueled the majority vote in the referendum to depart from the UK as Britain did? What was the argument?
So I think there were many arguments about it. As you say, it was a highly divisive subject, but one on which we held the referendum. A huge majority of the population voted, and within that group there was a majority that voted to leave. So therefore, I think almost by definition there were very, very many reasons that sat behind it. My starting point is one of probably about identity, that there is a certain island kind of mentality about the UK. We have always been a part of Europe, but we've never been of Europe. We've physically been slightly separate. And you can go back to kind of, Henry VIII and separating from the church in Rome. And I think this being
Henry
a kind
VIII,
of
we know for very personal reasons, which I could identify with.
so the separation, and you can kind of follow the history through. The UK's relationship with Europe has always been a kind of, I think, one that's never quite settled well. For the European Union, look, I think it was a conversation that vexed many people. My sense of it was that what people in the UK wanted was a close friendship with our brothers and sisters in Europe. Many of our friends and families are frankly intermarried with people from France, from Germany, from Sweden, from wherever. So I think the friendship matters. I think also the kind of common interests on global politics, on nearly all issues, on security. We see the threat to Europe being from Russia. We have a common interest in that. We've seen a threat of Islamic extremism. We work together on that. So I think there's a continual interest in that whole alliance of how we work together. And then on economy, they're our biggest trading partners, so we want to continue and to grow that. I think the bit for me that kind of, I think I heard many times over, was the political construct. The idea that we're part of some kind of big monolith. Now, people across different persuasions will argue different things, but in terms of what I think I heard from people, they would say that wherever they lived in the UK, they knew who their Member of Parliament was. They knew the name of the person, they knew the party they were from, they knew how long they'd been there. They may not like them, but they knew who they were. But many of them didn't really know who their Member of the European Parliament was. They didn't understand what the European Commission did. And if there's one thing the UK hates, it's having people tell them what to do. So having these people tell, on the face of it, whether they were or weren't is neither here nor there. That was the perception. I think just affronted so many people that when it came to vote, they kind of thought, you know what, I don't want to be told by someone over there. I think we should make our own decisions, which to me comes back to this point of identity.
The island identity.
I think so. And I think that, you know, the complexities, the reality of Europe, I don't think was ever really well understood in the UK. And therefore, I mean, when it comes down to those kind of votes, I don't think people really talk about trading preferences or voting rights. They come down to quite base questions. And I think on that was where the decision to leave the decision to leave kind of probably came from.
The Commonwealth, now more than ever, is it going to be an economic bloc that Great Britain is going to lead, or the Commonwealth is something that is part of the colonial past and no longer relevant? How do you see the Commonwealth of Nations?
So I think the Commonwealth has evolved significantly. It's often not given enough credit, actually, I think, for the way that it's evolved. I think when I think of what the criticisms were of the EU in the UK, it was this kind of sense of a top-down, slightly kind of monolithic structure. I think when I think of the criticisms of the Commonwealth, it's the opposite. It's that actually there's not a strong centre. It's a kind of like a kind of a club of countries that work together on common areas of interest. And I think in the last few years anyway, I sense this kind of sense of it being a slightly more almost grassroots type structure. But of course we have Commonwealth heads of government that meet. But if you look at the issues that they care about, I think they're the issues that the youth of the world care about climate, about plastics, about sustainability. So when, for example, the Prince of Wales was here, and he's represents Her Majesty the Queen at the Commonwealth, he's been personally pushing on those issues for many, many years. And I found it fascinating, actually, to find that in that group of people we've got real common interests on, our Commonwealth Oceans Alliance, for example. We can see it on the beach down at Accra, the beautiful beach. We know there are challenges. How do we work together? The UK can't fix the world's beaches. Ghana can't. But there are areas where we can agree to work together on these areas, common interests on how we look to kind of reduce plastic consumption. These are things I think are really positive things. So for me, the future of the Commonwealth is driven by a number of things. It's driven by a real sense of common values, a real kind of commitment to democracy and the fact that it's our people that our leaders represent. They don't represent themselves, they represent the people of their country. And therefore a sense of taking a slightly more medium-term view about things that they may not matter tomorrow, but they absolutely matter for the kind of ongoing kind of growth, prosperity and health of our citizens.
Every now and again, Goil makes good things happen. This time, Goil has introduced Super XP Ron 95, a higher grade fuel loaded with additives and yet sold at the same price as normal fuel. Goil Super XP Ron 95 enhances engine performance like never before. It maintains the engine by keeping it clean from carbon deposits. Goil Super XP Ron 95 is designed to burn slowly and thus improves fuel economy, making you save money after several kilometers. Goil Super XP Ron 95 gives you a smooth driving experience, that is, less vibrations. Fill up with Goil Super XP Ron 95. Now there's no need to pay more for any higher grade fuel. Goil has that sorted. Goil, good energy.
Ghana means business. Your story, our message.
Tourism seems to be a very intimate passion of yours. And do you see Ghana positioning itself as and using tourism as a major means, just like it has used cocoa and gold, as a major way of boosting investment, foreign direct investment, business across the divide and bridging the gap? How do you see tourism? And on that note, what is your Ghana Grant project? If you could link these two together, I'll be most grateful.
So I care about tourism because I think it gives the country a chance to tell its story. I think I think Ghana often keeps its lights hidden under a bushel with regards to the country.
Why so? Why would anybody light a candle and put it under his bed?
But I think that, you know, nobody people from Ghana know Ghana. But if I tell people in the UK that have no connection with Ghana at all about Ghana, I often ask them what is it they think of Ghana, and I think, well, they of course know Ghana, they know it's in the Commonwealth, and they'll know, but they don't think, I know I would like to go and visit, or I know I'd like to, you know, at the moment the route would be thinking towards, I'll go to Kenya, or I would go to, I don't know.
So Ghana is not positioning itself to take advantage of the vast tourist attractions that we have?
I think there is honestly, I think there is, as I said, two things. I think one, tourism offers the chance to tell the story, not just the president speaking at multilateral fora, but if I look at how the UK organises itself through Visit Britain, through Visit Scotland, it tells the story of the country, it tells things that we're proud of things that we want people to come and visit. Secondarily, it's a big economic engine room. But firstly, it's a point to be proud of. And I think for tourism in Ghana, I think I'm not just talking about Accra, I'm thinking about, you know, to link to my cycle, I'm thinking about places like Salaga, fascinating places with an incredible kind of history linked to the slave trade, of course, but a really kind of rich history and cultural stories. We talk about in Volta region up towards you know, the southern part of Lake Volta, near Akosombo Dam. Of course, people know Akosombo Dam, but what about the Ekwamahini, who's next door? Who was the Ekwamahinis, the Ekwamus rather, who were the ones that stole the keys from the castle. But if you're a visitor, you don't know this. And I keep saying, you know, that if you want to see the Eiffel Tower, you go to Paris. If you want to come to Ghana, I think it's the people, I think it's the culture, I think it's the tradition, it's the stories, it's the storytelling. And it's an immense privilege, it's something for which I am massively grateful, that in this role I've been able to see and meet a phenomenal number of people. But I think that actually the future is about how do we open up that story so that you don't just go to the Royal Century if you're a visitor, or to other kind of nice places up towards the bit of the river, but you start to tell the stories, because people are really interested in the history of how. So you
don't come to Ghana and stay at the Kempinski or Golden Tulip and think that, I've discovered Ghana. You need to travel the road, you need to feel the place and get a sense of what Ghana is all about.
So I think it's much, so for me, I mean, I think when it comes to tourism, I think that the question is, how do you make it easy? You know, how do you make it easy so that if there's a person sitting at home in Birmingham in the UK and thinking, I know, I'm going to go to Ghana, what do I do? And I think for me there should be like one page that says, if I want to come on a budget, here's what I would do. And if I want to come but I have more money to spend, here's what I would do. And not necessarily organise it for, I don't mean that. I mean you stimulate people's interest. So they could say, I could go and see the dam. I could go, okay. At the moment, I think there's so many great things to do here. There really are. And up at Vlee Falls, I can think of, you can think up in Kumasi, it's beautiful, down the kind of coast and the many beautiful coastal resorts. But if you're sitting in that house in Birmingham and you've never been to Ghana, you don't know that Koh Sa Beach Resort or whatever is down the coast. You don't know that it's safe. You'll be thinking, is that going to be... You don't know how to get from the airport to your hotel. So I just think the more that can be done, if it was down to me, I think it's the more that can be done to make that as easy as possible. Because I think once you stimulate people's interest, you know, it's the basics. It's a 6-hour flight away. The weather is always warm, the opposite of the UK.
You could live in Ghana cold. Without a shirt.
Right, exactly. So it's always warm, it's 6 hours away, and people speak English. So, and the people fundamentally are welcoming, and it's a safe place to be. And these are things that, you know, are a very firm foundation to build on. So that's what I think. I care about it because I think it's a way to tell the brilliant story of this brilliant country, and also like getting some of those little bits right about how do you engage a person so that you pique their interest and think, right, And the way we do that in the UK, to be clear, is if you had never been to the UK before and you don't know anyone in the UK, you would do a web search, and you would first of all probably come to Visit Britain.
Mm-hmm.
And the Visit Britain website would say, where do you want to go? How much do you want to spend? Where do you want? And you gradually get, I'd like to go to, okay, well, if I go there, then I could go.
You don't want to miss the third and final episode. It's going to be revealing, it's going to be rich, it's going to be informative. So stay tuned, same time next week on your favorite television show, Ghana Means Business. I'm your host, Nana Fribia Ajimai Pambo.